Uh, a very good afternoon to all. Welcome to our weekly Tally CA Connect. Our today's topic of discussion is of fundamental importance to all the chartered accountants and businessmen. That is auditing through TallyPrime. Our expert for today is CA Kunal Soni. Kunalji is a practicing chartered accountant. His main domain of work includes giving advisory system implementation through Tally based on company's requirements. He has also been into corporate advisory services for financial restructuring, corporate restructuring, import-export advisory on various incentive schemes of government and various government subsidies. He had taken over more than 100 corporate sessions on ERP and has successfully implemented ERP in various industries. We are very proud that CA Kunal Soni is a Tally evangelist and he's taken his precious time to take our session today. Thank you, Kunalji. Over to you without any further delay.
Thank you, Komalji, for the introduction. Very good afternoon to one and all present here. So basically today our point of discussion is regarding auditing through Tally. So hope means all of you might be either be a CFO or executive in any of the corporates, or you might be a practicing chartered accountant. So what we are going to focus today is how we can use Tally as an auditing tool, how we can develop controls through Tally. So one of the basic focus would be how we can develop internal controls through Tally. So one of the thing is we are currently going to focus more on the TallyPrime edit log, the recent release that Tally has provided. So how edit log would be useful as a part of audit and accounting trail and audit trail. So we are going to look for all of the same. Okay. So starting with the session now. So see, currently the version of Tally in which we are working, that is TallyPrime edit log. Now what TallyPrime, what is the difference? First thing, what is the difference between TallyPrime edit log and normal TallyPrime? See, first thing, there is no separate costing for the same. TallyPrime edit log, if you want to use the same, we just need to download the same from the Tally portal and we can directly start using without paying any additional cost. Only thing is we need to have a valid ESS renewal. So let's say once we have downloaded TallyPrime edit log, now what is the basic difference? That is first thing between TallyPrime and TallyPrime edit log. So previously, as per MCA notification, from 1st April 2022, it was mandatory for corporates to maintain a proper accounting trail. So means they need to have a proper user log for each of the users. However, at present, it is deferred to 1st April 2023. Now, Tally has already provided the upgraded release for the same. Now see, even if the compliance part is deferred currently from the government's perspective, however, currently we can utilize this particular feature for developing the internal controls in any of the organization. So we would be looking at what this particular release has brought into and how we can use it as a part of our internal controls. Okay. So first thing is, let's say I'm making any of the data entry. So say on 3rd of August, I'm doing any of the data entry. Unpaid salary 500. In case I'm going a bit fast, or in case if you need any clarity, just do interrupt and stop me in the between. So this is just one demo entry that we have done currently. Okay, a bit louder. Okay.
Naji, your voice seemed to fluctuate. So it was fine bit before, but a few of the sentences, the ending part got missed. So
okay, now is it audible?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Okay, yeah. So see, first thing that we are going to focus going to focus is basically that what is edit log and how we can have an entire audit trail through edit log itself. So currently we entered one transaction. I'm going to debug. So this particular transaction I have entered at present, that is unpaid salary amounting to 500. Now what TallyPrime edit log provides? See, when I'm opening this particular voucher, there is one option here that is for related reports. So when I would click on the same, there is an option for edit log, that is alter queue. When I press the same, it is displaying me here that it is the transaction is created first time. So it is mentioning the activity as created. Username is admin. and date and time is 3rd August. And this is basically the system date and time. So whatever is your system date and time, that would be displayed here. And if I press enter on the same, so all these details would be displayed. That what is the voucher date, voucher type, party name, ledger. So all of the details would be displayed here. Now say tomorrow, in case there is any modification required, then any of the particular user, be it this user only or any other user, is modifying this particular entry. So let's say I'm making the amount to 700. Okay. So now see, in case of internal controls, let's say we want to verify that who has modified which particular entry, or it is done at what particular spot of time. Then we can just directly click on the same. Again, go here in related reports. Check. So now see what it is displaying, that originally this transaction was created. So it is the original transaction that is created here. Now it is party name, ledger, all these details are there. Suppose that there is an alteration made in this particular entry. So what alteration is made? See the original amount. Originally it was created by admin, dated 3rd August, time 3 o'clock 4 minutes. Original amount was 500. Whatever modifications are there, that would be highlighted. So from 500, now at 3 o'clock and 6 minutes, they have modified the same to 700 rupees. So in case any of the particular modifications are made, that would be directly highlighted by the system itself, and we can have an entire trail of the same. Again, let's say if you are modifying this particular entry, any of the ledger, let's say I'm just, for the sake, I'm transferring to unpaid audit fees. So now again, when I open this particular transaction, I would have an entire trail of the same. See, original transaction that was created was this. Suppose that alteration was made to amount. Suppose that alteration was made to ledger. From this unpaid salary ledger, we transferred to unpaid audit fees. Now see, what is the benefit of this particular thing? Let's say in case in future, if we want to trace anything, we will have an entire accounting trail. That what was the original entry, who modified the same, in which particular fields modification were done. And one of the very good feature is, even if any sort of customization is done in Tally, then that also would be available in the customized fields. Also, in case you are changing anything, then that report also would be available in the edit log. So this is basically something which is really useful from the perspective of internal control. Now, let's say apart from this, I'm making any of the routine entries. Let's say I'm just doing any of the entries. Now, in case if we want to view all of the modified transaction, then what Tally has provided is, we can go to basis of value. This is my daybook currently. I'm going to basis of value. Now, in case I just want to see the altered transaction, I can just click on the altered transaction, include deleted vouchers. I'm pressing Control F. So see, currently it is displaying me with only the altered transaction. The other entry that I did previously, this entry is not modified. So it was not displaying there. So in case I want to filter all the vouchers and just check with the altered transaction, then that also is available to me. I can just check the same directly by clicking here and check alter transaction. And let's say if I am deleting this particular, I'm just deleting this particular transaction further. Now see, there is one option provided here. I'm going to alter transaction, include deleted transactions. Now see, previously what was the thing, that in Tally, if we have deleted any of the transaction, entire trail was deleted. We cannot view the transaction, that who deleted the same and at which time it was deleted. Now let's say I would just click on enter. I would just enter the same. Here I would again get the entire trail, that this was the last details that were updated, and post that this transaction is deleted. Just supposed to go, it is not related reports, it is the report that is basis of value. So when you would be going to basis of value report, there you would be getting this particular option that show reports for whether it is for altered transactions or non-altered transaction, or you want to view with all the transaction. So the words that has been there, that is not related reports, that is generally there in the basis of reports, basis of value reports, and the shortcut for the same is Control B. There is one more question that edit log option is available in both versions of TallyPrime. In TallyPrime edit log version, it is by default on. In TallyPrime, you would enable this option in company alteration. See, previously when Tele provided with the edit log option, so previously the thing was that in edit log they provided with an option that in case you want to, whether you want to enable the same or you don't want to enable the same. Now suppose that they have made the same by default in the system itself, as the requirement of law was that means user should not be able to alter this particular log that is there. So as to have a control of the same, currently they have completely blocked that particular thing in edit log. So now see, this is not only with reference to the transactions only. Even in case in the master creation, if you have modified anything, then in master creation also you could have the entire trail that who created the masters and who have modified the masters. So even that options are available. So you can, even if let's say you are opening any of the masters here, there also you get this option for edit log. So in case any of the masters has been deleted or altered, that also trail you can get it. So this was this is now the thing is from compliance perspective, it is deferred at present. However, from the perspective of internal control, you can get the same implemented, be it be in the company in which you are working or be it be for your clients if you are practicing CA. So this is one of the really good feature that Tele has provided at present. So this was something regarding edit log. In case there are any further questions with respect to the same, you can just ask one. Else we are moving to the next topic. Okay. We are moving further. There is one question. What all types of changes can it record? So see, changes in any particular field of any particular, I would say, voucher type. So currently even we saw that, let's say, in this particular entry itself, even if I'm changing the reference, if let's say if bill to bill is set to yes, and I would be changing the reference of the same, then also it would be reflecting. If I'm, I would say, modifying check number or any particular detail, or I'm mentioning the narration. So any particular field you are entering, it would be displayed. So see here it is, narration is also highlighted. I changed the ledger name, so even that is highlighted. So in the voucher type, if any particular field you are changing, that would be highlighted. So all of the details would be highlighted which are changed. So it is not specific to any particular field. Okay, then next question is, we can't delete ledger after enabling edit log. No, it is not like that. We can delete ledger after enabling edit log, and you would be having the trail of the same. See, only thing is, when you cannot delete any ledger in Tally, the thing is that let's say you created any particular ledger. Now post that in that ledger, you have used that ledger in any of the transaction. So you created, let's say, a debtors ledger, and now you have entered the sales for that particular data. So you won't be able to delete the same unless you are deleting the sales transaction first. So for any of the masters that you are creating, you can even delete the same in the edit log also, and the trail for the same would be available. Only thing is that prior to delete, you just do need to delete with the relevant transaction also for that particular ledger master. Then you would be able to delete. Master company master company transaction. So yes, it is basically available for all the masters and the transactions. So you could trace the edit log for masters as well as transactions. There is one more question. Related reports features appears in disabled mode. Can you just let me know that which exactly related reports you are talking about and in which particular report? Because see, post TallyPrime, all of the reports have been merged to this basis of value and all those stuff. So if you can brief on the same. how can we see deleted masters? Okay. So let's say I'm creating one master. Uh, so I'm creating this particular ledger master, data demo. Now I'm deleting also this particular transaction, data demo. I'm just deleting the same. Now see this, it is displaying here that I have created this particular ledger master. So where I went is, I went to charts of accounts, I went to ledgers. Then here I again went to basis of value. There I'm going to alter transactions, and there I'm going to include deleted ledgers. So this has been set to yes. And at the end, it is displaying me here with the data demo. So see, even you would be able to see with the deleted masters also in this particular thing. So hope all the questions with respect to this edit log has been cleared. And the crux of the same is, you see, for any of the updation in Tally or modification or alteration, you could trace with the entire trail, even for masters as well as for the purpose of transactions.
Raji, there's in Q&A also one question. See it.
How can we on edit log in TallyPrime? So see, it is basically currently available in TallyPrime edit log release itself. So in TallyPrime currently it is not available. So you can just directly, what you can do is you can just directly install with the TallyPrime. And once you install the same, you just migrate the data to TallyPrime edit log. So in case you want to use the same, you just migrate your TallyPrime data to TallyPrime edit log. But what was there in the master and the reason for deleting this? Can we trace this too? So see, again, I would just say that what was there in the master. See, if you have created any particular thing and you are modifying the same, yes, all the master details that would be there, it would be available. So just to clarify your doubt, I'm again going there in the basis of value report, including the deleted transactions. So when I press enter on the same, so I would get this report that originally I have created with all these details. Now see, in this particular ledger, I have not posted means any opening balance or other details. So it is not displaying that. But all of the details that were originally there when I have created the master, that would be there here. And one now I have deleted, so it is displaying as blank. So yes, we do even can get the trail for the same, that what was there previously and what is there post deletion. So you just need to press the enter on the same and you can get all the details. If we change mind, can we migrate back from edit log to TallyPrime? Yes, you can just do migrate back. And in case when you are opening the opening in TallyPrime, there is an option for repair data that Tally by default provides, and migration is required. So once you directly press the same, it would by default migrate to TallyPrime. So there are no even additional efforts required for the purpose of migration or like that. System would by default migrate. Okay, now, so this was all regarding edit log. So we can use it as internal control. Now moving forward to another feature that is there in Tally regarding the Tally audit feature that is there. Now see, one more feature that is there in Tally. So when you are creating any of the company, I'm going to company alteration screen. So there is one option here that is enable Tally audit features. So now let's say once you enable this particular option, that is enable tally audit. Now when this would be available? So this option would be available only when you have set the control user access to yes. So when you have set the control user access to yes, this would be the additional option that you would be getting, that is the enable tally audit feature. And once the same has been set to yes, you are getting some reports here in the display, statement of accounts, tally audit. Now, see, this is also one of the very good report that Tele has provided, and which we are generally not using. So now what is this we would be discussing on? So just for the sake of clarity, I am just selecting the period from 1st of August to 3rd of August. Now see what it is displaying here. Currently, the number of transactions that have been entered, that is one. This was the one that we entered previously, correct? Now, this particular screen, through this, what you can trace is you can daily verify that daily how many transactions have been entered in the system and how many transactions have been modified. So let's say this was the transaction that I did previously on 3rd August. I made this bank payment. Now I just check the same. It is correct as per me. So I'm just accepting the same. So I'm accepting this particular transaction. So this would be audited, means this transaction is posted correctly as per me. Now let's say tomorrow post this verification, I am making one new data entry. Today on 3rd of 3rd itself. Now see, currently on 3rd August, there are two transactions. One was the 900, which I have already verified, and this is one new entry that I have made, that is of 1000 rupees. So I'm again going to that particular report, display, statement of accounts, tally audit, voucher types, date I'm providing 1st of August to 3rd of August. So now see, it is displaying that there is one more additional transaction which currently I have entered, which is pending for verification. So once if I have just viewed the same, if it is okay, I can directly verify. Now see, there are two tabs here. One is for the enter transaction and one is for the alter transaction. So let's say how you can use this particular feature. This is again for the purpose of verification of routine data entries. Let's say in case you want to check that whether all of the data entries that have been done, whether that are correct or not. So what you can do is, let's say today we are standing on 3rd August. So 3rd August, there are 50 transactions that have been done. So all these transactions would come here for the purpose of verification. You can check each of the same, and post that you can just directly accept the same. And once you accept the same, the transactions would be gone from here. And post that, let's say if I'm altering any of the transactions, then again it would be displaying me in this particular window. So on daily basis, whatever transactions are being modified, or let's say in case there are any sort of alteration, that would be available from the system. So let's say I'm even accepting this one. And post that the original transaction, now I am modifying this to 3000 rupees. So now see, this was already audited previously. This was already checked and accepted. However, I have modified the same now. So once I have modified the same, I'm again going to statement of accounts, tally audit, voucher types, 1st August to 3rd of August. So here see, it is currently displaying that one transaction is altered. So which I need to again verify, as the transaction was previously verified by me and accepted. However, post I have accepted the same and verified, it is again altered. So it is displaying me. And it would even be displaying, see, that entered by admin, altered by admin on 3rd August. So who originally entered the same and who altered the same. So post that again, I can just select the same and accept this. So see, this is again something which you can use it as a part of internal control for any of the organization. Let's say if you want to set internal control process in your organization, if you want that your routine transactions that have been entered, that should be coming to any particular person for the purpose of verification, then in that case, you can use this particular feature of Tele audit that is available in the system by default. So similarly, this report is there for master wise transaction. If any new masters are created, and if you want to verify the same, that how many new masters are created on routine basis. And this is the log for user wise transaction. So this is again are entered which transaction and which user has altered the same. Can we list those who altered after acceptance? So yes, so see, basically there are two things in the same. At the time of company creation itself, what you could do is when you have created any of the company, you could define your user rights only based on the same. That let's say if there is any accountant has only the voucher creation rights. And let's say voucher alteration, deletion, or modification rights that would be available only with the system administrator. So first thing is you can have the controls in the system itself through this, I would say, user roles. So you can define various user roles here. So this is the user role of data entry. So you can whatever facilities you want to allow and whatever facilities you want to disallow. So these are the list of disallowed facilities. These are the list of allowed facilities. So that is one particular thing. And apart from that, there is one report available here of users. So which user has entered the transactions and which user has modified the transaction. So let's say I just previously modified one of the transactions. So it is even displaying maybe here that this was the transaction which was altered by this admin user. So yes, you would be having the trail of both which user accepted and which user altered the same. My question is, once I have audited and then same voucher has been altered, you showed that this voucher will again appear in the list of altered voucher, but this is not showing that I had audited it. See how it is. See, it is not show. It would not show what you are auditing or like that. See this particular screen currently, the 3rd April. What is the purpose of this particular report and how it is working? Let's say we are opening 3rd of August. Okay. So now see, now any of the transactions that would be entered, we have audited both the transactions. So means audited means we have accepted, we have checked both the transactions and accepted. Now post your acceptance, let's say any of the new transactions has been entered or anyone is altering any of the existing transactions which was already audited, then all those transactions would be coming again to you. So the thing is, any alteration or any new creation of any voucher, once you have checked the same, it would come by default to you. So this screen would ideally be blank on daily basis. However, if any alterations are made or if any new voucher is created, it would be displayed here so that any of the new vouchers or altered vouchers would be available for the purpose of verification. So hope the same is clear. Is there any report which would display the changes made in the vouchers after the checking has been done? So see, it is again I'm saying the same. If any changes has been done, so by default it would be displayed here in the altered voucher itself. And for that, for all those altered voucher, you can check the edit trail of the same. So see, basically means certain things that you can work out based on yourself also. See, this report is by default going to be blank. Let's say 10 transactions are altered post that. So list of those 10 transactions would be available here and you can just check the trail of the same directly from here. And in case if in any scenario you want to check from day one how many transactions has been altered, then that feature is available that you can just go to daybook and here you can go to basis of value, you can just directly click on alter transaction. So any of the transactions that has been altered, that would be displayed here. So you can use it as per your convenience in what manner you want to use the same. So that will be available through the system. Only thing is, see, these all features are available, and these are something which are really very useful feature, but we are not using the same on routine basis. And this is very useful from the control perspective. We can develop entire internal control in any of the organization through this. Okay, there is one question in Q&A. If we have opened a saved voucher and then without changing any value, re-accept by pressing alter A, will this be counted as altered? No. So in that case, it won't be counted as a part of altered. See, alteration is, let's say in any particular field, if you are changing any of the data, so that only is considered as a part of alteration. I do not wish to accept all the transaction. I wish to only see certain transactions. Is this feature available? So see, again, I would just say that means let's say in case you want to accept only certain transactions, then you can go with the vouchers that you want to just verify. So you can select your specific vouchers. So you can define that what all, let's say for sales, if there is any particular transactions or a particular type of transaction which you specifically want to verify the same, you can have it in a particular voucher type. So and post that, you can just make sure that for all that particular voucher types that have been defined, you are checking the same. So this you can use it in the way you like. So see, the thing is how you can use it. You can explore more and more options, the manner of using that you can define by your manner yourself. Thing is that this is available, and how to best utilize the same, that's up to you. Okay, so see, this was regarding the tele audit feature that is there. If you want to reject any voucher entry, can it be done by giving a reason for non-acceptance? No, see, so see this again. I'm saying that this is not basically the voucher approval thing that is there. See, voucher approval means it is not in a manner that you can approve the same. Post your approval, only transaction would be posted. It is the verification of the routine transaction that is there. So you cannot ideally reject the same. See, once user has entered the transaction, it is posted in the system. However, that posting, if you want to verify, that would be available in this particular. So this is not working as a part of voucher approval and rejection. So this was basically regarding the tally audit feature that tally audit feature that is available in the system by default. So hope all of the questions have been answered. Okay, so I would say now, if this is clear, we are moving further with the next topic that is there. So this was something that we discussed on tally audit, that how we can use the same directly through the system itself. Now, apart from this, there are various other options also in Tally for the purpose of analysis and verification. Now, what are those options? How you can utilize the same at the time of audit? Now we would be looking at each of the same. So see, now we are going to display more reports. There are two options here under the exception tab, that is exception report, and the second one is analysis and verification report. Now, what are these two options? We would be looking at the same. Now, first thing, we are going for exception reports. There is one more question, whether schedule 6, so which is currently schedule 3, financial statements available in Prime. It was one of the most useful feature in Tally ERP9. So see, currently the scenario is that Tally is bringing an upgradation in the same. So at present, if you are using Tally ERP9, that option is available. In the Prime, in the near term, they are working on the same currently, and they are providing you with going to provide you with an update based on the existing new schedule, new updates that have been there recently. So based on the same, they are working, but at present it is not available. But yes, Tally is working on the same, and in the near term they are going to launch with the same for schedule 3 formats. Okay. So now we are going to reports that we discussed. So we are going to display. There we are going to exception reports. So, and there's one more option that is for analysis and verification. So both these reports are very useful from the perspective of audit. So see, both these reports are really very useful from the perspective of audit and analysis, and we would be looking at how this would be useful. The thing is, now see, at present, why we are asking to use this feature, that is TallyPrime and TallyPrime Edit Log. See, that is basically one of the thing is, from compliance perspective, it is directly integration with the e-way bill.
Naji, your voice is actually very low. Your earphones or something.
Just give me a minute. Just give me a minute.
Now it's fine. In the middle, it just gets drowned.
I just don't know, might be due to connectivity or some issue. No
Yeah,
issues, I
that
would
might
just check.
be. That might be.
Yes.
I think now currently it's working fine, so you can continue with this.
Okay.
Just reset once you're.
Okay. So see, why we are focusing on this particular release of TallyPrime edit log, or be TallyPrime. So one of the thing is that, see, TallyPrime edit log provides you with a complete accounting trail, so which is really very useful from the perspective of internal control. Apart from that, if you want to handle with your compliances part, so let's say be e-invoice or e-way bill, that is available through direct integration. Tally has directly integrated the same with the e-invoice portal and e-way bill portal. So what happens is you can just directly generate the same through Tally itself. You can have the printout of e-way bill also in the Tally directly. So these are some of the very useful features that Tally has provided and which are available in the TallyPrime and TallyPrime edit log. So this is something uh, which which is, I would say, recommended for you to upgrade to this particular releases so as to be updated with the compliances part, and even with the other features of the system that are available, that are really good. The browser capabilities and all those things that are available here, that are also something which are really useful from the enterprise perspective. So now moving to our this topic, that is exception reports. We are going to say, now see, there are various reports here, that is negative ledger, negative stock, overdue receivable, overdue payable. Now what are these exactly? So we are going to negative ledgers first. Now see what this particular report shows, that whatever transaction, now let's say debtors generally do have a debit balance. However, in any of the scenario, let's say debtor has got a credit balance or any of the creditor has got a debit balance, then that could be available in this particular report itself. So now let's say this particular ledger, say this is Ana Computer. So this is our sundry creditor. So now sundry creditor is having a debit balance. So what you could do here is all the negative ledgers that are there in the system, the list of the same would be provided here. Now through this particular list, you could just go through this particular list and check. Now say, let's say there is debit balance. So you can just check on with the same that the debit balance is whether it is due to any the advance provided. If yes, what was the reason for providing advance, or what was the reason for providing any sort of longer credit term, and why there is deviation from the same. So all of the list of the ledgers you could just directly export from here. You could just verify the same once from your end, and post that you could directly ask the management the reason for the same at the time of auditing, that what is the reason for deviation in the balances in all these ledgers. So this is something which system directly provides the list of all of the ledgers that are currently having the negative balances. So similarly, there is a report available for negative stock. So let's say in case any of the stock is going negative at any particular point of time, it would be displayed here. Similarly, there are reports for overdue receivable and overdue payable. So what are these basically? Let's say if there is any of the credit terms that have been provided. Now it is mandatory that for this particular report, your bill to bill management in Tally should be done accurately. So there should be proper referencing for the same, and entries should have been made after giving proper references. So let's say if you have entered any of the transaction, so this transactions were due on 16th April. Currently we are standing on 3rd of August. So by how many days this particular bill has been overdue, that would be displayed here. So similarly, for the purpose of overdue payable, so now see, if you want to check this from the MIS perspective also, if you want to make sure, let's say for any of the data, if your normal credit period is 30 days, however for any of your data you are providing with a credit of 180 days, then in that case you can ask the management that what was the reason for providing this longer credit. So there are various analysis that you could do from this. These are the reports which are readily available, which you can use as per your convenience in the audit process. So this was the exception report that was there. Apart from that, there is one more report that is for analysis and verification. So say now, say we are, when we click on the same analysis and verification, there would be two options basically that would be highlighted. One is the data analysis and other is the voucher verification. So we are going initially to data analysis. Now there is an option here that is verification of charts of accounts. So what this particular report shows that how many new ledgers are created. Okay, there is one question that what is optional vouchers. Okay, so the optional voucher feature that is there in Tele, we would be discussing that for a while. Now see, generally what happens in Tele, let's say in case you are posting any of the transaction, it is directly posted into the system. However, in case you want that any of the transaction which is already posted in the system, that should not have any of the impact on any of the ledger. So just for example, let's say I'm making any of the payment to, okay, so this is sundry debtor. I'm making a payment of 6,000 rupees. Now see, there is an option here at the time of voucher data entry voucher. I'm setting the same to optional. So this particular option will make this status as optional. Okay, and I'm saving this particular entry. Now I'm opening the ledger account of that particular part. Now see, no transactions are displayed here. The thing is, let's say this is again a sort of verification tool that is available, that once you make the optional transaction to regular, post that only it would be, I would say that affected in that particular ledger. So there is one report here that would be available, display. Again, we are going to exception reports, optional vouchers. So now say it is displaying here on 3rd August, this particular entry has been made. Once I've done this, let's say if I check the same and if as per me this entry is correct, I can just make the same as regular. Once I make the same as regular, now let us check with the ledger statement. So now see, post that only, it would be affected in that particular ledger. So it is again a tool that let's say for any of the invoices, if you want that post confirmation only, let's say if you want to issue to someone, then all those stuff, you can use this particular feature. Now there is one question, optional voucher do not have any impact on final accounts inventory. Yes, correct. Optional vouchers, unless they are set to regular, they do not have any impact on the financial statements. So data entry would be done, but it won't impact any financial ledgers or anything. So this is basically the concept of or optional voucher. And one more thing, one more option that is available for optional vouchers. So when you are creating any of the voucher type, let's say I'm creating this particular bank payment voucher type is there. There is one option here, make this voucher optional by default. So once you have set the same to yes, what will happen? Any of the entries that user is making in this particular voucher type, that would be by default optional, and that would be affecting the financials, or that would be regular, post only you make the status to regular. So if you want to set anything to optional by default, you can even have the same directly from the voucher type screen itself. So when and why to use them? So it is basically a sort of control check. Let's say if any user, if any of the company has hired any of new accountant, and there are chances that more errors are likely to happen. So let's say for initially 4-5 days, if you want to just check with the same, that all of the entries that he's doing, that should be affecting the financial statements, post only you just check the same and approve the same. So what you can do is, for all of this voucher types, you can set the status to optional. So all the data entries that is done by him would be optional, and once you verify the same and make the same to regular, post that only financials would be affected. Or in case you are you want to make this system of authorization on a routine basis, then even this particular feature is useful, that all of the entries that would be there, that should be optional by default, and once you verify the same and set the same to regular, post that only financials would be impacted. So this is again something which can be used as a part of maker checker or the voucher approval that is there. Hope the question has been answered. . Okay, so now we have already seen with the exception reports. Now we are looking at the uh, analysis and verification, data analysis. We were in the verification of charts of account. Now see what this particular report shows basically that let's say if you want to trace that how many new ledger masters have been created, what were the ledger masters that were there in previous year and which are not used in current year. So all these options are available here by default, and Tele has segregated each of the same by itself. So this is very useful from the perspective of audit. Now see there is one option here, only balances, no transactions. So let us press enter on the same. So now see what are these transactions. There are something where the opening balance is one and the same as compared to previous year. So what is chose? Now see generally opening balance should generally be one and the same for ledgers like share capital, or in the current year if you are looking for any investments or like that, reserve share capital investment. Now however, for the purpose of debtors and creditors, let's say if opening balances are one and the same, then in that particular case you do need to ask the management that what is the reason for the same. Are they a sort of bad debts? Are provisioning required for the same? So see these reports are useful from that perspective, which are having one and the same opening balance as was compared to the previous year. So this is again something which is very useful at the time of audit, that let's say any of the loan accounts, any of the advances that were provided previously that are not yet received. So why it is not received? Are we supposed to write off the same? All those things you could just check on with this particular report and ask the management directly. And even it is useful for, let's say, be it be internal audit of any organization or you are doing the stat audit of any organization. So the reports are readily available from the system. Thing is how you utilize the same. Now these are something which are used only in current year. So these are the list of ledgers which have been used only in current year, and what is the first voucher date. So it is more or less displaying you with the list of all of the new ledger masters that have been created. So again, this is something very useful. How many new parties has been onboarded? So what, and further, what were the, I would say that reason for onboarding these new parties. Now from the perspective of TDS, you just do need to check that for all of the parties whether we have taken declaration that whether the turnover was about 10 crore or below 10 crore, who is required to deduct TDS, whether they do have filed the last 2 years ITR. If not, TDS was required to be deducted at double the rate. So for all the new debtors and creditors ledger, you could just have the list exported from here, and you could ask the management whether the declarations have been obtained or not obtained. So this is again something which you could use it directly through system itself. There was one question that if we create separate tally company for different FI, can we still compare the same? So yes, comparison option was available, and we can compare the same. Currently also see this is something which is not a continuous data for 2 years. Means it is just something that for 21, 22 there are some entries, and for from 1st April 22 certain entries have been made. So yes, comparison that is available in the system. So now see what we are looking is that these are the options that are available through system. So I would request every one of you that you should even you should just go through the same once with each of the same, and you would have an idea that how you could use it, because see you can use it in n number of manner the same. Now there are various other reports like verification of balances. Now see this report again, what it is doing that. Now see duties and taxes, this is grouped under the head of liabilities. Now let's say if once it is grouped under the head of liabilities, it should be having a credit balance. Still it is showing debit balance. Reason being the be it before the taxes credit that is available. So now what is the reason for the negative balances? So all those things would be highlighted in the system by itself, and you could even have the detailed view of the same for all of the debtors and creditors. So list of all the debtors, creditors having negative balances that would be available directly from the system. So if you detail the same, entire party-wise balances would be available, that which particular transactions have negative balances. So these are basically from the verification of balance perspective. So I'm just providing you with a walkthrough of each of the same, and just briefing you how you could use the same, and post that I would say that you can even use from your end, and just see that what this features, how you could I would say implement in your organization or implement in your client. Now there are certain analytical procedures, so whether you want to comparison of group to ledger or group to group, that is also available. So in case you want to compare sales to profitability or like that, that is also available. So say I'm just currently doing this sales verification, April to May. So see, I've made a sales comparison. Now see, entire comparison for two particular financial year that would be done by system Excel. So from 1st April 22 to 31st May, and April 21 to 31st May. This is the total sales. So what is the different variance in the total sales? That is 45% compared to previous year. And in whether it is positive or negative. So even that would be displayed here. That negative would be reflecting as red marks. So this is an entire comparative scenario that would be available. Now, along with the same, if you want to compare the profitability or purchases or sales or any particular group for two previous year, that would be available through the system itself. In case the percentage of variance is too high, then you could ask for the justification of the same. So these are some of the really very good inbuilt reports that system has provided, which we could very well use for the purpose of audit. Now, this is one report that is for pending documents. Now, see, Tally by default has one of the very good feature that is relating to an entire accounting trail from PO to GRN to purchase invoice. So how many are pending purchase orders that are standing in the books, that also you could trace through the system, provided we do have made a proper accounting for the same. So this report shows that what are the pending purchase order. This particular report shows that for how many transactions for the purpose of sales, goods have been delivered and delivery note has been made, but bills have not been prepared. So this is a list of transactions where goods have been delivered. However, we are yet to prepare the invoices for the same. And this is relating to the pending receivables and payables. Once you press the same, you would get an entire list order wise, that party wise how many orders are outstanding. So this is one entity. Total number of orders are 9. Opening value is this one, this much. Pre-closed, this is the received value, and this is the closing. So these are the list of parties that would be also party wise orders list. If you want to view, you that would be available from the system. And this is again one of the very good feature that is available. Even from the management perspective, if they want to trace the same, that what are their outstanding POs, that would be available. Now, periodic receipts and payments. Now, this is again something I would say a very good feature that is available. See, what is this for? So there would be certain ledgers. Let's say if you have availed any of the AMC from any of particular vendors. So be it before, or there is any internet bill or telephone bill or rent expenses. Now that expenses are supposed to be recurring in nature. So let's say if rent is fixed 25,000 every month. So what you can do is you can just set that particular ledger as periodic receipts and payment. Once you have set the same, the list of all those ledgers would be displayed here. Currently, I have not set anyone to yes except this one, rent expense report. So what it would display is it is evenly 35,000 per month. Now, if in any particular month, let's say this amount is not there, then you could ask the management that whether invoice is yet to be posted, you have forgot to post this particular invoice or what. So all the periodic receipt payments that should be there evenly for 12 months. If the same is not there, system would directly highlight the same and provide you with the same. And in case it is there in both the financial years, then that particular case, it would even provide you with the comparative analysis for the same. So this is again something which is useful, periodic receipts and payment. Now see, I just clicked on this particular report, how you could set periodic receipts and payment. So I'm going to this particular report. There is one option here that is for master configuration. And there are three options provided here: periodic receipt payments, related party, and sampling methods. Now I'm going to this particular option. So let's say my agency charges are periodic. So I can just set the same to yes. Is periodic. I can just click update here. So I set the same to yes. My any other expense, I'm just taking for example here, bank interest expense that are again periodic. I can just update the same here. Suppose that what will happen, list of all these transactions would be displayed here. So see, now it is even displaying this whole transaction. So you could just segregate out of all your expenses that what are your periodic expenses, and the list of the same would be available here. So there was one question, how to enable ledger as periodic. So I just showed with the same. You can just go to this particular report, go to master configuration, click on this particular tab. Similarly, there is one other option that is for related party. So let's say for any of the parties, let's say if it is a holding subsidiary or associate, and you do want to trace that how many transactions have been done with the related parties. So you could just do the same. You could just open this particular report and just set the same to yes, yes or no is the same as. So I'll just see, this is demo. So I'll just set the same to yes, that this is a related party, and relation type also we can mention. So apart from that, let's say this is demo one. That also, if I want to update the same, so I can mention, is it related party? Yes. What is the relation type? So I can just mention it, whether it is holding, subsidiary, associate, or a joint venture. Now the report of the same would be available through the system. And apart from that, this is also really good feature. Now see, it is even mandatory from audit perspective, whenever you are doing a stat audit. Many of the firms might be like that, you might be getting your peer review audit also. So at the time of peer review, it is generally asked for that what are the audit documentations, what are the documentations based on which you have relied and provided your report. So for the purpose of audit documentation, if you have done any sort of sampling method, so rather than just having any answer like that, you can have a sampling method in the system itself. So let's say there are various vouchers, bank payment, bank transfer, I would say any other credit note or debit note or purchase or contract. You can select the same. You can select the sampling method also. If you want to have random sampling, you can have random sampling also. I'm selecting sampling here. Whether I want to verify all the vouchers, then I can set the same to all vouchers, or I can set the amount range that exceeding this much amount or like that. Or there is one of the very well accepted sampling method, that is Benford analysis. So if you are selecting this particular method, then based on the Benford's formula, system would provide you with a list of samples, that what are the samples available based on the Benford analysis. You want even number voucher, odd number voucher, specific period. Let's say if there was any, I would say, sort of fire or like that, or there was any sort of any issue in the company in any particular period of time, you want to vouch with all of the transactions for that particular period, you can even provide that specific period, or you can provide specific vouchers. I'm just selecting Benford analysis. So based on the Benford analysis, I would be having the sampling for all of the vouchers by itself. And in case I want to have random sample, then I can have random sampling for them. So these were the periodic receipts and payments that we discussed last, just for the purpose of verification of sampling that we discussed. Where will we get this option? So which option? I'm sorry, I'm not clear. If you are asking regarding the samples, then it is here that we can just go to voucher verification. verification of vouchers. So it is displaying me with the total list of vouchers. Now see, I just click two three parties as related transaction. So all the transactions with that particular parties would be provided me with you. So in demo I have made one entry. So these three entries, so whatever transactions would be there with the related parties, I would be getting the list of the same here, and I can just verify the same if I want to specifically verify any of the list of the related parties. Now these are the list of vouchers that I have selected based on the samples. So I'm opening the same. So now see, I just selected some of the transactions. I gave various analysis method. Now see here, let's say this particular payment voucher I'm opening. So total vouchers that are 8 in April, in July it is 1, and in August it is 3. I've already done sample of, I'm just selecting this transaction. This seems to be, if it seems to be correct, I can set the status to verified. If I have any issue with the same, I can keep on pending for documents or anything like that. I can set its status to internal observation. In case I want to ask my senior or like that, I can set the same to internal observation. Confirm with, let's say you want to confirm with your senior partner or manager. Confirm with partner, you can mention the same. Similarly, you can have external clarification, confirm with management. And see here, there is even the list of users that, let's say if Mr. X is accountant, whether you want to confirm with that particular accountant or you want to confirm with any of the management or the reviewer, you can even select the person with whom you want to confirm. Can you please show the navigation from where I can mark ledgers as periodic? Okay. So see, we went to display, from gateway of Tele display, analysis and verification, data analysis. We went to this particular option, that is periodic receipts and payments. Here there is one option that is for master configuration. We just need to click on the same. We need to select this particular option, periodic receipt, payments and receipt. We need to click on the same. And now you can select any of the expense. Let's say this 5 expense, if you want to select as periodic, you can just set the status to update. Now, once you've set the status to update, what would happen? This ledger would be reflected further in this particular. So whatever ledgers you have marked as periodic, that would be available here, and that would be available for the purpose of, I would say, verification, and you can directly have it from there. Okay, thank you. So we were discussing basically regarding the sample. So I just selected. So now it's this bank payment voucher. There I sampled just 4 vouchers. So see now this one voucher I had verified. So total my sampled vouchers are 4, out of which verified is 1, and 3 are the one which I have kept on hold. Similarly, for all of the transactions based on the same, I can select it from here. Now see whatever internal observation or external clarifications that were there. So that is available here. So when I have verified, so this was the transactions which I have verified. So I can open that transaction directly from here. So how it is useful? See, when your partner is reviewing your audit work, then even that would be useful for him also, that what were your audit findings that would be available through the system itself. This is something which you need to confirm with your partner, so partner can directly check on the same and revert. This is something which you need to confirm from management, so that is something which would be available here. So these are some of the very useful features, and for basically for all the firms that are covered under this peer review, it is really going to be very useful from the purpose of audit documentation. Because say post 3-4 years, let's say if your peer review audit comes and they are asking for audit documentation, it would be really good if you have the same directly in the system itself. We are still following all these procedures. We are doing the same manually. However, if it is available through the system, you can have it directly. That would be really useful. And even your manner of doing audit, that would improve through this. Documentations would be readily available. How can I enter my observation? So see, we previously also we entered observation. When you open this particular transaction, you have provided here that internal observation. So this was to confirm with partner. Now let's say partner, and the partner I'm just verified or I have shared my comments. I'm updating this particular thing to internal observations clarified. So see, it was previously showing as internal observation pending. Now it is displaying as internal observation that is clarified. So all the observations that were there for me for the purpose of verification, I can even check the same and update the status for the same. How the auditee will get to know what are my comments. See, this is basically from your perspective. That is first thing. That for your internal organization, if you want to use the same, this is really useful. And let's say if even in case if you want that any this for let's say management, if they want to view that what all confirmations are required from their end, they can just directly view this particular column for external clarification. External clarification is something which you could provide the list of the same directly to the management, or they can even view the same directly from here. And these are the percentage of sample voucher. So let's say in case of any of the assignment, it was basically required that you do need to have a minimum this level of sampling, then even that is available through this. Can't this reporting be exported? Yes, it can be exported for sure. See, you can either export the same or you can just ask them to look it directly from here itself. I can just press Alt V. I can just export the same. So the file. I would just say that for any of the report of Tally, you could export to Excel, PDF, or whatever format you want. So all these reports you can directly export. How to confirm internal and external verification. So I just showed that. See, I marked one of the. This was something which was, let's say I'm again changing the status of the same. So see, let's say if initially it was marked as internal clarification required. What you can do, the list of the same would be available here. Let's say there are 15 transactions here that would be available here. You can just click. Now see, this is scrolling, the thing that is highlighted. So if you click here, it would show you with the 61 sample transaction. If you are clicking here, it would show you with the verified transaction. If you click here, it would show you with the list of the internal observation transaction. So what you can do is you can just click on the same. There is one option here that is internal observation clarified. You could click the same and you could just mention your comments and you could just clarify the same. So it would be transferred from pending to clarified. So in this manner, it would be working. So see, this was basically to brief you regarding how you could use it from Tally, what you can do it. This is one of the very good manner of doing audit. Whatever we are doing, that would be available in the system. And we will have a proper documentation for the all of the work that has been done. So we have already seen with the periodic precepts and payments, there is one more option that is for repeated transactions. So how many amounts have been repeated in any of the particular transaction? So this is something again, which I would say very useful when you want to have an analytical view. Let's say for any particular data, if anyone is indulged in doing any sort of billing or like that, and he's keeping a frequent payment for sales, which generally doesn't happen in the normal scenarios. So for any data or any data, if the amount is one and the same every time, then in that particular case, you can check with the list of all the datas where there has been repeated transaction. So see, these are the repeated payments. So again, these are the repeated payments. These are the repeated purchase transactions. So you could just check on with the same directly through the system. This is again a really useful feature from the perspective of analysis if you want to have. Relative size factor, that is one more report. Can we apply some filters on screen? Means filter in what sense you want to say? And repeated transaction filters. See, these are the things that are parameters to ignore for repeated transaction, date, ledger value. So when you go to F12 transaction, these all options would be available. If you want to ignore anything, and amount filters, if you want, you can filter it from here. So that would be available. And primary group you can select here if you want to have, but specific for any sort of daters or like that, that is not there. But however, you can have the group name prior to that, and post that you can just export the same and filter the same. So you can just do that thing that you can export this particular in Excel file, and post that you can have the list of daters and characters in the manner that you want. There is one more report that is relating to relative size factor. Now, what is the relative size factor? And there is a specific formula for the same, if anyone is aware regarding the same, that what is the max amount of transaction and what is the least amount of transactions. So let's say if there is too much deviation in the same, which is again a part of, I would say, analytical review, that in case the deviation between the max amount and the smallest amount, minimum amount, that is too high, then you need to specifically check with the same. So in case there are any transactions, then you can just directly check with the same. So the report would be available here for relative size factor. Interbank transactions, these are basically the rest of the contra transactions if you want to verify the same. Cash and bank deposits that you would be available. This is the fixed asset register, opening, additions, deletions, closing. So again, this for the purpose of additions, whether it was actually required to be capitalized or not, you can just check it directly from here. Transactions on holiday. This is again something really good, I would say, report that is there. Let's say if any of the transactions have been frequently taking place on public holidays or Sundays, you could trace the same directly from here. You could define your calendar here. What are the weekly offs? So let's say Sunday is weekly off. You can define here, and your calendar list of days where holidays are there. So let's say on any of the public holidays, you can just define the list of the same years. Suppose that what would happen, system would provide you with an entire list of all the transactions which have been taken place on the public holidays. So again, for the same, you can ask for the justification with the management that what was the reason, how it is possible to practically have the same on public holidays. So see, these are the features that are available. You could use it based on the manner that deems fit to you, but this would be something which is really useful from the perspective of audit. Highest and lowest value transaction. So again, we saw the relative size factor, and again, this is the what is the max amount in a particular, I would say, ledger, and what is the least amount. What is the difference between the same and the percentage in the same. So again, if the percentage is too high and if you want to have a verification of the same, you can have it from here. Pending advances, if any, stale checks or instruments. So in case there are any checks which were issued which are now already stale, let's say time period of 90 days has been over, then that would be available from here. So this was basically regarding the audit and analysis. I think there was one more particular transaction that are forex transactions. So for any of the forex transaction, how many vouchers have been done in foreign currency or multi-currency, you could trace the same from here. And even in the report, you are supposed to mention what is the net foreign inflow and foreign outflow. So if you want to trace the same, you can just have it from here. You can check with each of the same. See, RSF and highest and lowest amount. RSF is basically the relative size factor. That is, I would say in the division terms, and which in the highest and lowest value gets the difference in the percentage term. So one is something which is available through division, and one is something which is available in absolute terms through difference. Logic behind both of the same is one and the same. So see, basically what was the purpose of this particular session? That is to make you aware regarding what all features are available, how you could utilize the same to the maximum. These are some of the really good features that are available, which would ease your audit. Many of the things would be available directly from the system. You even are not required to dig out everything, checking each of the ledgers and everything. All the reports are available. You could just directly verify the same from the system itself, and you can use it to your best. So any of the specific questions with reference to the same? Be with anything in Tele, be it TallyPrime, Edit Log, any of the configuration. Say there are some other people also in Tele which are really.
Kunalji, so there's a hand raised. I think we can ask them to.
Yeah, sure.
And I think there's one Q&A question. Ashok Tiwari, you've raised your hand. Satyanarayan, Amrit Patel. Okay, so who all have raised hands, I have given you permission to ask your question directly.
How to link the compliance portion in the ledgers? Total compliance, TDS.
Sorry, sir. Sorry, I didn't get it.
We have to pay the TDS. When
Yes.
Increase the 50 lakhs, other things now 194 or 192. Many TDS sections are now on operation.
Sir, okay.
How to link it?
Sir, see, to brief it, I currently cannot show it entirely, but I can just say you that, see, all of the compliance from perspective of GST, TDS, even your PF, ESIC, professional tax, TDS on employees, that could be managed directly from Tally itself.
What about the IT company?
So, see, there are various statute. One of the things, see, one of the reports these are the GST reports, TDS reports that are there.
Yes,
Once you have configured the same, for the purpose of configuration, there are various options here in statutory master, TDS nature of payment. So you could just configure the same here, TDS on contractors. So once all these things are configured, then at the time of data entry also, TDS would be calculated by itself. You are not supposed to manually calculate the same. And if in case any of the entries TDS is not deducted, then system would by default provide you with the deviation report that for all these transactions TDS has not been deducted. Similarly, it is available for GST, and if you are using payroll in Tally, then in that particular case you could manage your entire PF, ESIC, PT, TDS on employees from Tally.
दिख नहीं रहा.
So, sir, you can do it, all these complaints. There was one more question that how foreign currency and INR invoices can be shown. Okay, so just a brief regarding the same. What you could do is, there are various options.
ब्रांच ट्रांसफर. हाँ तो ब्रांच ट्रांसफर का ओपन करो उसमें. ब्रांच ट्रांसफर. हाँ. कहाँ पर
Okay, so there is one question regarding how we can maintain multiple currencies in Tally. So see, there is one option here in creation or alteration currency. You could create, first thing is you could create various currencies. Now, whenever you do any of the data entry, when you are, let's say, if possible, I would just show you with any of the sales transactions. Currently, there are no entries for exports. Okay, no issues. So when you are doing any of the sales entries, let's say you select any of the party, and one of the very good thing that is there in Tally, that is the exchange gain loss that is there, that would be calculated directly by system. Now see, when you are entering quantity, let's say 500, 5,000 or anything, rate you can mention dollar, let's say. Now see, I mentioned $5 per kg, rate of exchange I can mention here. Based on the same amount in INR, this is the amount in USD, this is the amount in INR. And based on this particular thing, even your exchange gain loss would be managed by the system. So exchange gain loss, you are not supposed to calculate manually, it would be done by system itself. There is one more question, how to use reversing journals. So I just do need to have a specific session on the same, and I would say if possible, we can connect post this session. So we'll provide you with an entire brief of the same. So see, that is basically even useful from the perspective of provisioning and all those stuff. So if you want to book anything on the basis of approval from next month, you can have a reversal.
Amritji, you have your question? Mr. Amrit Patel, I have allowed you to talk. Yeah, I think he is no longer on the screen or something. I'll remove this. Ashokji, do you have your question? So I guess we have no further question, Kunalji. All the questions in the chat are answered, right?
Yes, basically.
And in the Q&A also we have covered all. So that pretty much brings us to the end of the session. I seriously, you need to have some juice or water because we've been constantly speaking for around 1.5 hours constantly. And so I personally enjoyed this session as it was so active. The questions kept on putting, and you being so fluent and you have this ease around the subject. I think that is why we call you the Tally Evangelist. Thank you, Kunalji. So I will now end the session.
Okay, yeah, thank you. And so in case if anyone has any concern, they can just directly approach with the Tally team, or you can even have my contact details from.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, thank you.